say hello and welcome to the Lewis Nichols Show. I'm really excited to bring on my next guest. It's your third time actually being on the show, and it's always a pleasure. Let's say hello to Jonathan Watson. How are you?
I'm well, Lewis, and thanks very much for having me on again.
Well, there's so much excitement going around at the moment, as you know, of course, with Two Doors Down coming back, and it's actually going to be on BBC One as well. The show has just grown so much. For you, that's been in the show since the very beginning, you must be excited, especially with the fact it's going on BBC One, prime time.
Yeah, we're all very excited about it, and it's a big compliment to everybody involved in the program to give us this little promotion. So we hope very much that it's welcomed by the audience and enjoyed by them as well. So yeah.
I'm assuming for you and the cast and everybody that works on the show, although you're excited with what's to come with the new series this week, it must be tinged with sadness, of course, with the loss of Simon, the show's creator, the co-writer, and looking at the tributes from the cast and crew, he seemed to be so loved, so respected. What were your memories and your thoughts on working with Simon?
Well, it was working with Simon has been one of the privileges of my career. I mean, it still seems very odd to be talking like this.
Mm.
We were down in London week before last for the big press launch, and we met up with friends and the night before to sort of celebrate Simon's life, and then the following day we sat down in the press junket and had to watch through 2 episodes of the program, and it was so weird because I think we all felt, Simon should have been there, So it's been a very weird and difficult time for all of us, and he'll be hugely missed. He was a fantastically talented guy. He was performing at the top of his game. Not just working with us, but working with other um, people in the business at a really high level. And yeah, he'll be missed. He'll be missed terribly. He really will.
Well, he's left a legacy, that's for sure. And you only have to speak to people about Two Doors Down, and they smile. Everyone has that favorite episode, that favorite line, that favorite moment. So he's left such a legacy, and hopefully this series will just go on, to do big things.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. I think everything's kind of in hold just now. So I think we'll have a clearer idea once the program goes out and we see what the reaction is. And yeah, but yeah, there's excitement about the program going out, but it is tinged with sadness as well.
Obviously, for Colin, the last series, there was a big change. We lost Cathy, and then Colin in the first episode went into a big depression, and we saw a very kind of vulnerable side to the character. When you first got the scripts, for the last series, what were your thoughts? Because it was such a big change for you.
Well, I kind of knew about the change before reading the scripts. It was explained to me what the kind of path that he was going to go on, and so it was fresh. It was quite exciting, and I did enjoy the last series. But I think maybe in reflection, I would have enjoyed him to be in his own for a little bit longer. I
Yeah.
think the fun was to be had with Colin's experiences in Tinder, etc. There was only sort of one ep of that. I think we could have maybe stretched that a bit. However, it was still great to do, and it was lovely to work with Siobhan Redmond, who I'd known for many, many years. But yeah, things change in our line of work. You never know what's around the corner. And when I got the call to say that Dune was coming back, I was delighted because I love working with Dune.
That's what a lot of people wanted to know about your reaction to, of course, Dune coming back, because Anne Marie was so different. She wasn't like a wannabe Cathy. She was so unique as a character, which was the great thing for us as an audience. It was someone completely different, and there was a chemistry. but it for me it wasn't the same as Cathy and Colin. So when I heard the news, of course, I was chuffed. So can we expect the same kind of chemistry between Colin and Cathy with her return?
Well, I hope so. I mean, yeah, I mean our sort of our role in the show is to sort of cause chaos, if you like,
Yeah.
come in and offend all and sundry, and which keeps the sort of keep things going. So to get back to that was really good because although there was awkward moments with the relationship with Anne Marie, it wasn't in the same level as when Colin and Cathy are together. So it was good to bring that back. Yeah, I mean the thing about when the chaos that they cause, I always think with Colin it's quite innocent. He's just a
Yeah.
complete buffoon. Whereas with Cathy, it's slightly more calculated, and to have that mix back in was was great fun to do. Yeah.
You mentioned obviously earlier about when Colin was single for that episode. And I can't say the exact line, but in the last series, I've got one of my favorite moments because it was one of those shocking moments is when Colin runs out of his house and there's a lady getting into a taxi. He runs over to Eric and says, Eric, see that lassie in the taxi? I've just, and it was the reaction of Alex. It was just incredible. It was one of the funniest moments for me watching that back because I did not expect Colin to just come out and say what he
Yeah.
said.
Well, that's the great skill of Gregor and Simon as writers. They just hit you with lines like that, and it's interesting you saying that. That was my favourite scene from the last series. I absolutely loved doing that, and the young girl that was who was my Tinder companion. She was a supporting artist, and I think she arrived not really knowing what she was going to get involved in. So I had to explain it to her and say, "Look, this is happening. Come in, and I've got this line after. Are you okay with that? You all right?" And she said, "No, no, no." She said, "That's really funny." She said, "No, no," and she was great, because we sort of improvised in our way to the taxi before I broke off and gave Alex my good news, and she was absolutely fantastic. She played it so well, and which helped me enormously to do the rest of the scenes. So yeah.
And with the Christmas special last year, that was completely different and not what a lot of people expected, but in a really good way because we're used to watching Two Doors Down, we're used to laughing and crying with laughter, but actually there was that sense of emotion with this episode, especially with Christine, and we went on this journey with Christine of that feeling of there are some people out there at Christmas that do spend it alone, and it just
Yeah.
completely changed. It wasn't what we expected. What were your thoughts on the Christmas special?
Well, I no, I I thought it was so well done. It was a beautifully written episode, and it's always a bit of a challenge, to try and do either a Christmas special or a New Year special and try and get a new angle on it. And I thought that the path that they chose was a really interesting one, and it also um, it was great for Elaine because she delivered this wonderful performance that a lot of people were able to, associate with, and it was just, yeah, it was a really good episode.
What I do want to ask you is, will we ever see Anne Marie return to the show, or are
Oh,
you
I
allowed
don't.
to say?
I No, it's not that, Molly. I really don't know. That's something I've got no sway over at all. I really don't know. So maybe she will at a later date. I don't know.
Well, we've not done this before, but we've actually got some questions now from some of the viewers of Two
All
Doors
right,
Down.
all right.
So I'm going to ask you some of the questions, which are from people that love the show, and they got in touch on the fan site.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll put these to you. So Viv Swanson said, "Could you be tempted to write some material for any future show because she thinks you will be fab?"
Well, that's very kind of her. But I'm afraid that any writing that I've done in the past isn't at the same level as Greg and Simon's work. No, we the scripts for the program were best left to these guys, and we in the past, any kind of change that we've suggested has been minuscule. They're so well prepared for us. So no, it's very kind of her to say that, but no, and I'll just play Colin, and that'll be fine. Yeah.
Karen Williams Pearson said, "Did you always know, even as a child, that your future lay in comedy acting, or were you always the class clown, or was it something that you kind of realized later on in life?"
Well, I'll try and keep this as quick as possible. But I when I was about 10 years old, I started going to the junior course of the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama in Glasgow, which is now the Royal Conservatoire. And in fact, Alex Norton used to attend it as well. He was a few years above me. So, and at that time, if the BBC or MD were looking for kids to be part of any productions they were planning, they would come along the Saturday and sit up the back and observe. And as a result, I get quite a lot of work when I was younger. I did a lot of things like Dr. Finlay's Casebook, the Wednesday play. As did Alex. He did Dr. Finlay's Casebook and a number of other things as well. And so that I did that for a number of years, but with no real intention to pursue a career in acting. And then, wavy fate, a few years later, something happened that I got asked to take part in a production at BBC when I was, what age would it be, about 19, 20? And I did it. And the next day I applied for drama college because I knew that was what I really wanted to do. Yeah.
I'll ask the other questions in just a moment, but I've got to say, one of the funniest things that I find with you is your facial reactions, and that's what makes me laugh the most. I always remember a scene, I think it was the Almalfi Friends, and you went you went up and put on a gym top, and you come back downstairs and you're trying to impress Michelle, and it was just your face is what made me laugh the most because you could tell everything purely from your reaction. I mean, are you aware of that yourself when you do that?
Well, yeah, you've got an idea what you'd like to try and do, and you trust the others to make sure you hit the right mark, and you don't sort of go too far and all that kind of stuff. That's what the note, and so that was great. I go back to Simon. Simon was brilliant for that. He would come in and just whisper in your ear a little note, just a tiny little thing that would make a huge difference to your performance. So that'll be missed as much as his writing qualities as well.
The next question is from Barry Lowry, and he said, "Will yourself and Eric be taking a trip to Germany in the summer, and will we see the kilts again?"
I think that's an excellent idea. I'd love to do that. You could throw in a weekend trip to Amsterdam as well, and we'd both be up for it. Yeah. No, I don't know if there'll be any plans for that, but I think it's an excellent idea.
I think you've actually already answered this, but Alistair Marshall said, "What was your initial reaction to Dune's return to the show?"
Well, just to repeat, I got a call. I think I was about the first to know because, obviously we work very closely together. And Steve Canny, the exec producer, phoned up and said, "Just let you know, Dune's coming back." And I said, "Oh, great, that's brilliant." And then I contacted her not long after to say how pleased I was. So yeah.
I mean, Dune is one of the actors from the show that I've kept in touch with the most, and yourself since the interviews. And I've spoken to Dune a lot over the last few years. And I remember I got the call just after Christmas, and she told myself and my partner, and it was just incredible. Obviously, we couldn't say anything, but we were in absolute shock. And yeah, it was just I was buzzing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's great, and I've got to say, the last interview we did, it was myself, it was you, Elaine, and Alex, and a lot of people fed back on the chemistry that all three of you had together, and it was something different because we do the solo interviews, which are incredible, but actually just to see the respect that all three of you had and that natural connection was just amazing to be part of, and I think the audience really noticed that.
Well, that's good. When we've known each other for such a long time. I mean, Elaine and I were at drama college together. So I've known Elaine for, let me see, let me try and for over 40 years.
Wow.
You know, so we go back a long way. I've known Alex not for as long as that, but I've known Alex a long time as well. So you know, we've huge respect for each other, and we love it working with each other. There's a great trust there, and that applies to the whole cast as well. There's a real trust between us all, and you know that helps enormously when you've got, you know, to work under such a sort of pressured schedule and everything. Yeah.
The next question is from, it's the last question as well, from Robert Ryan. And he said, is there a location that you would like to go with Two Doors Down team, like Edinburgh, London, Belfast, Benidorm, a traditional Scottish jaunt for a holiday?
Yeah, listen, I'd take a holiday anywhere. It tends to be because of budgets now. You don't tend to do any of these type of filming jobs in a program, and I've done it in the past. I've been to, with Nesbitt, Rapsy Nesbitt. I was in Genoa, and I was for the World Cup in 1990, and then another one for Nesbitt. I ended up in Amsterdam with only an excuse. I ended up in New York for a week. So any of these places, I would happily pack the case and head along to, but we just need to wait and see.
This next question is, it's a random one from me. You know, when you watch the show, sometimes you watch it 10, 20 times over like I do, you notice little things. And I notice just how much everybody eats in the show. And I mean, there's some incredible meals. You've got lamb roast, you've got Christmas dinner, you've got curry. What I wanted to ask, do you have a team that cooks that meal? And like, is it still hot? Because I don't know how many scenes that you take when you're eating this.
Well, we depending on what if it's a, for instance, if it's a carry out meal, the props guys, art department, they'll get that, they'll organize all that, and it is always hot. It's always hot. If it's something like a burn supper or a Christmas dinner with turkey and everything, they have a chef that comes in, and this guy, he's French, he's brilliant. He comes in and makes sure everything is sorted the way it should be. There is an awful lot of eating, and what I can tell you from the new series, without giving anything away, there's one episode where a Chinese carryout is brought in.
Oh wow!
And I remember one day, I should also add to this that Simon was obsessed with the fact that when it was in your close-up, you to eat, you know, quite ferociously, you know, really eat quick, you know, and eat a lot. And he used to find it so funny. But I remember in the summer, one morning, you know, you start at 8 o'clock, and the camera was on myself and Grado, and the two of us ended up eating 3 Chinese meals each before 9 p.m.
That's incredible.
It was incredible, and I think I've only managed recently to shift the extra weight that I put on, but it was. But the thing about that as well is the food was really tasty, so it wasn't all that difficult to do. But there is an awful lot of eating in the program. You're absolutely right.
I just always wondered, after you finished your scene, do they allow you just to, you know, as a crew, to sit down and finish it off and enjoy it, or do you have to give it back? You know, I always wondered how it worked.
You give it back. As soon as they say cut, you stop eating, and that's
Wow.
Yeah, they take it away. Yeah.
So, you know, I know you can't give away too much for the series. We've only got a few days to wait now, and we're all excited. But when you reflect and you think back to the new series, are there some moments that you know are just going to go down really well with the audience? Are there some specifics that you're like, yeah, this is going to be one of those legendary Two Doors Down moments?
Well, I don't know. It's that's quite a difficult question to answer because I've only seen a couple of the episodes in the final edit. So there's some good bits in the programs that we viewed week before last at the press call. But it's always difficult to say because sometimes, you know, you might have a favorite bit and it might not make, you know,
Yeah.
the final edit. So it's difficult to answer. I've got lots of happy memories from doing the last series. Pardon me, so many enjoyable scenes and great laughs, and yeah, very sort of warm memories. So I just hope that within all that there are a few moments that the fans really love and enjoy. So yeah.
To your knowledge, are they being released all at once again, or now it's on BBC? Will it just be released weekly, or have they not kind of discussed that as yet?
Well, I think it's been announced that from November the 24th, I think, um, the Friday, this coming Friday the 24th, I think they're all available in iPlayer. That you can check that out actually, because it's an Instagram, and iPlayer have been putting stuff out about it. But I'm pretty sure you can access all the apps on the 24th.
I mean, each series, I say, no, I'm going to watch it every single week. I'm not going to binge watch it. It gives me something to look forward to. I watched the first episode and then I finished them all in one night because it's so addictive. You just need to know what's going to happen. I can't leave it for another week.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm going to see if I can do it this time. But
Oh,
apart from Two Doors Down, have you got any other upcoming projects that you can tell us about? Because I know you're a very busy man.
Well, I've got over Christmas and New Year, there's a program that is very close to my heart as well, called Bob's Servant, that I filmed a number of years ago with Brian Cox, and it was written by a good friend of mine called Neil Forsyth. And it was out in television a number of years ago, but he's brought it back, and we've recorded two two plays for Radio 4 about Bob, and sort of winding things up before he goes into retirement. So myself, Brian Cox, Rufus Jones, Greg McHugh, Phyllis Logan, and Lulu all appear on that. And that is over Christmas and New Year. It's got a really good slot in Radio 4. So hopefully some of the people watching this will tune in.
And what about, I know you get asked this a lot, but Only an Excuse, hugely popular. Going forward, what are your feelings with that? Because I'm sure when we last spoke, you said it was kind of finished at that time.
Yeah. No, we finished it about 3 years ago. We wound it up 3 years ago, and no, that won't be coming back. I do get a lot of people still talk very fondly of it, but no, it's had its time, and it's, you know, got to move on. So I won't be returning to that.
I just wanted to see more Jurgen Klopp impressions. It was so good.
Yeah, Jurgen was great with the teeth that barely stayed in my mouth. That was my idea actually, but no, that was great to do. But no, it was time to sort of finish it off, round it off, and move on to other things. So yeah.
Well, Jonathan, honestly, once again, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm always so grateful that you give your time, because you know, for me, it's exciting as an interviewer, but for everybody watching, especially if you saw the groups on social media, they absolutely love the show. They love these chats. So thank you for coming on, and I'm really excited for the new series.
Well, I hope you enjoy it, and thank you very much for your kind remarks. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.